I decided to do my final project on stimulant use and abuse with a public health lens. I took a course last fall called Your Brain on Drugs, where we studied the effects that drugs have on the brain. I found this class extremely interesting, especially the use of stimulants, because it is so prevalent on college campuses these days. It has become normalized to hear someone reference how they got a paper done because they're on Vyvanse, or they got an A on their exam because they studied all day on Adderall. Since the prevalence of the problem has only grown since I did my last project, I decided to revisit this problem with a new public health lens I've acquired through Health Science 101. What is a stimulant? Stimulants are drugs designed to increase alertness, attention, and energy while elevating blood pressure, heart rate, and respiration. Typically, stimulants are prescribed as treatment for attention hyperactive deficit disorder, ADD or ADHD, and narcolepsy. The most commonly prescribed stimulants are known by their brand names as Ritalin, Focalin or Atenane, Vyvanse, and Adderall. The drugs are frequently prescribed to children while they are in their youth, as well as college students and young adults who are struggling under increased rates of stress and higher demand. Stimulants work by neurotransmitter reuptake inhibition of dopamine and norepinephrine, and release and breakdown reduction to increase attention. They also increase wakefulness by increase of glutamate and decrease of GABA. Stimulants are ever present in the life of many, with usage of stimulants starting at a young age and continuing throughout a wide age span. In 2011, 11% of 4 to 17-year-olds were diagnosed with ADHD. Approximately 7% of high school seniors claim they have used Adderall at least once in their education. About 20% of college students report using stimulants at least once. In 2012, there were about 1.2 million hospital visits by non-medical users of prescription stimulants. And in 2012, there were approximately 360,000 people receiving treatment for addiction to stimulants. As presented in the last slide, the prescription and non-prescribed usage of stimulants spans across a wide population, and there is little to no social determinants in need of stimulants. While the diagnosis of attention disorders or narcolepsy may not depend on social determinants, they may stop some people from using the stimulants if they are not able to afford the medication or have limited access. However, it is common among all populations of society. College students believe that use of stimulants will increase productivity, allowing for cramming before a big exam or the ability to complete a paper or assignment. College students also believe all stimulants have the same effect. Stimulants will make you smarter. Stimulants cannot hurt you. College students believe that if one prescription works for one person, the same dose of the same stimulant will work for another. College students also believe that stimulants are not addicting. However, none of these are true. These misconceptions are frequently formed by the media and their peers. Articles in the media portray these drugs in a way that make them seem as though they are beneficial and have no negative connotations. This article in the Washington Post refers to stimulants as a dose of genius and claims that prescription drugs don't seem to be causing too much trouble since most use the drugs not to get high but to function better, so when exams are over they go back to normal and stop abusing the drugs. But it's not that simple. Peers are also a source of these misconceptions. If someone is prescribed, they may speak highly of how effective they are when they have taken the prescription, therefore catching the interest of their friend, who may then rely on the drugs for their studying habits. Previous prescriptions are also a form of misconception. If somebody was once prescribed a medication for ADHD, they may be more likely to obtain the medication when they're struggling to focus later on in life. The truth is, non-medical use of stimulants is associated with a lower GPA, higher rates of skipped class, higher rates of socializing, and lower rates of studying. Non-medical use of stimulants is also considered to be a high-risk behavior and should be monitored. Frequent users are more likely to use other illicit drugs and partake in binge drinking. There is no substantial evidence that prescription stimulants will help those who are not prescribed. The use of stimulants can chemically alter the brain and its neurotransmitter levels, causing permanent damage, and stimulants can, in fact, be addicting. Public health is defined as the science and art of preventing disease, prolonging life, and promoting health through the organized efforts and informed choices of society, organizations, public and private communities, and individuals. Therefore, I believe that public health may play a role in the non-prescribed usage of stimulant drugs and hopefully limit the rates of addiction that occur as a result of this. I think putting a stop to the misconception that stimulants can't cause addiction would be the first and most critical step to stopping non-prescribed usage. The socio-ecological model is extremely applicable to the use of stimulant drugs. It is commonly done at universities, and therefore the organizational facet could implement policies and better educational programming to end misconceptions. I also think interpersonal intervention would help by utilizing physicians, friends, and families to enlighten people who are about to enter settings where they may be exposed to stimulant use and abuse. Honest publications about the topic, such as Generation Adderall in the New York Times, are beneficial to spreading the truth about prescription stimulants and raising awareness of the severity of the issues. In Generation Adderall, Casey Schwartz discusses the ease of obtaining a prescription to Adderall and how it was a slippery slope to addiction. She found herself easily acquiring the prescription and then quickly becoming reliant on it to do work and produce the creative writing pieces she needed for a career in journalism. This quickly led to reliance on the substance to merely get through a day. This article is an expose on the dark side of these study drugs. In The Tipping Point, Gladwell discusses the power of context by saying, "But in reality, it is no more than obvious and commonsensical extension of the power of context, because it says simply that children are powerfully shaped by their external environment, that the features of our immediate social and physical world, the streets we walk down, the people we encounter, play a huge role in shaping who we are and how we act." I believe the power of context plays a role in use and abuse of stimulant drugs across college campuses because of the environment presented on campuses. There's a demand to get all A's in your classes, have a social life, be involved in extracurricular activities, and have enough time to take care of yourself simultaneously, sleep well, eat healthy, and go to the gym regularly. However, this is hardly possible for any human to achieve, so people end up relying on stimulants to get by. When the opportunity is presented to us, we hear our friends talk about how productive they were or how long they stayed up. We are more likely to take whatever they are having. The context of college campuses, which are so demanding, is leading to the tipping point of use and abuse of stimulants.